Hey nerds, it's been a month. It's been a month and a fortnight, actually, I think, since the last time the three of us, technically, if you include Loki, hung out and talked about the Myrna Annals RPG, and it's not over 9,000, guys. It's over 18,000. Oh boy. Let's have a chat.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be.
Tech gremlins, dudes, enough today. Is it Mercury in the Gatorade or is Mercury in the Gatorade, y'all? Like, seriously, oh my god, Baka.
Yes.
The tech gremlins are getting me too, just not you.
Hold on. Oh, get them. Where are they? Oh no,
I protect my child who's behind me.
Never mind, Max broke. Gosh darn it. I've had this thing for
It rolled a nat 1.
Not again. This is 2 sessions in a row. This is killing me.
So how have you been, brother dear?
It's been 1 week since you looked at I can't get bare naked ladies on my head.
That's a fair reference around here, though.
It's been a wild ride. Let's take it there. It's like just got my clocks clean and what was it? Abiotic Factor. So I tried playing a security officer, and I think I was the first one to go down as this. So yeah, it's too real though, because my character is hungry all the time and is tired all the time. So I think I made it too real.
So for those of you who are not aware or don't recall, Baka and I met through gaming on Twitch back in like 2020, circa somewhere around there. And he and the gaming crew, Emerald Company Gaming, were interrupting their session. So we're going to keep this to a tight hour. So that way we can go and give them one of their officers back in their game. So Miranda's here, Bomika's here. Well, welcome on in, everybody. We're having slight tech issues with our documents talking, so the co-authors can do the co-author thing. So, Baka, you go on that side, dude. Anyway, welcome to it has a name that we're sticking with now, TTRPG. So where would you like to start since I'm on page 1, bro?
Page 1. So I don't know if you got the update, because I was working on, personally, I was working on like some advanced concepts. So I guess we can start there. So that's going to be one of the later places. So speaking of crit fails, I don't think it took any of my updates.
That's okay. We can still add it in with notes just in case. So what did you add, bro?
So I was working on degrees of success for your game. And I was going to split them up into skills and combat. I guess I'll just pull it up on my end, see what I actually wrote down. So I did the homework, I swear.
Hey, as someone who taught in virtual spaces and coaches through this screen, tech gremlins, we deal with them. It's okay.
All right, let's see. Where's my scroll? And then, I don't know, I couldn't pull it on my computer, which is where I wanted to work on it. And I had to work on it on my phone. And I'm just scrolling forever because I don't see the tab reticle. Oh my lord. Look at all
it's
this.
The very last page, almost, if that helps. Go to the last page and then back scroll by like a handful of pages. It's like page 89. That'll save you some time.
Cool. Again, it's going to be different for my document because now we have 2 different documents.
Again! Yay! I see why people are moving away from Microsoft and more so to Google. Digressive success. I can't even spell today. This is why we edit.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. All right, here we go. I think this is it. So this might be the version I was working on. Cool.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I have. So after superior advantages, I was working on just degrees of success. Based on how well you either surpass or shortfall roll, certain things may happen. Now, for skills specifically, the first topic was ties to +4. That would be considered a narrow success. And the description was you did it, but just barely. It isn't going to impress anyone. Your character will probably be stressed out by how close it came, but hey, you did it. So that's like the bare minimum success. Nothing real crazy or to write home about, but hey, you did it. It's like, yay! So the one after that was going to be anywhere from +5 to +9. And that is a great success. You did well. Maybe you should get a little extra knowledge about something unrelated that may come in handy, or discover an item that you might need later. Something small that could give you a +2 to some other roll down the road. As some suggestions, there might be some other scenarios I might be able to drill down later. But that's kind of what I was thinking off the cuff. Then after that is +10 or higher, and that is a spectacular success. You make this look easy. Not only did you do an amazing job, you look good doing it. This kind of success should make you enemies as well as your allies take you in awe. These kind of checks should grab attention, whether you want it or not. And then I put in parentheses, I didn't have time to elaborate, but C, holding back. And that was going to be another advanced concept I was going to drill into.
Yes. I love that add-in very much.
Yeah, we could probably add it in here because it's not going to be that complicated, especially for your system. So going into now the opposite end on skill checks, we're going into failures. So there's -1 to -5. That is a near miss. It's like, okay, the task is complete, but a minor complication arises. You snuck past the guards, but one of them say, "Did you hear that?" You unlock the door, but you scratched the lock, or maybe you bent the pick. You made your point to whoever you were convincing, but they had a reaction you weren't expecting. So those were all like examples of, okay, you didn't make the DC we set forward, so okay, yeah, you did it, but maybe something else kind of rises up, and it's like, was it a success though? I don't know. Something like that.
And then it's -6 to minus what? Because what I'll do is I'll merge the documents after this. I'll have we'll get that document to me and I'll just merge them in the back end.
That's fair. All right. So -6 to -10, that's a failure. So add people. Yes, I want to add people. Oh, well, later. So you didn't do the task you set out to complete. Now you have to face the music. Maybe not right away, but you can't escape your fate forever. And then there's -11 or lower. And that is a complete failure. It's like, this is the kind of failure that they write songs about. Either you tripped, fell down some stairs, accidentally spread a rumor about an official that now wants you imprisoned, or you told the love of your life how you felt right before she leaves the country forever.
Ouch!
Yes, this is the kind of failure that stings. So I was thinking if you get either a -11 or a +10, that would get you like attention, whether you want it or not, and then that could be a reason to hold back. We'll go over that in a little bit. All right, so now for combat, I made it a little bit different. So we have -4 to a tie against whatever their defense is, and that is a glance. So your weapon made contact, but not in a meaningful way. So you roll your damage dice twice, and you take the lowest results. Now, I also noted that some magic spells or combat techniques may only require base contact with the character to take effect. So maybe that's all you needed. So this is your touch attacks, how I was going to incorporate those in. Like if you just blast some guy with like a bunch of firebolts, like a scorching ray, for example, and then they're like, oh, but it only made contact. I'm like, yeah, that's fire. That's going to suck, you know? So if we make it say...
No. That's not how the order of the engines go. And don't you dare say them continually now that we both have thought it out loud, because I felt that elephant in the room, sir. But yes, agreed.
Yeah, this was how I was going to address touch spells or touch effects in your game, because some strikes, like a nerve pinch, might only require like base contact with the character, and they're like, oh, I can't use my arm anymore. Oh no, like what was that? Lynn from Avatar, just going around paralyzing people and then doing it in a way that was really, really sexy. I mean, oops, did I say that loud?
No, he doesn't have a type. No. Anyway, but this also accounts for a lot of the fact that a lot of our magic users need those moments for sure too. Right. Not just, our monk-like characters or barbarian brawlers.
Exactly. And that's the one thing I don't like about Dungeons & Dragons 5e, where, a mage has to hit a regular armor class with Scorching Ray. I'm like, it used to be fighters would be like, they see a guy in robes and they're like, oh no, how's my touch AC doing? As opposed to, they have to hit my armor class. I want people to fear wizards is what I'm saying. It's like, make wizards scary again.
Nay, don't make it only the Fae. Don't make it only the Fae. So what, other than the -4 to a tie, what's the next level for the combat?
One up is +1 to +5. We're going to call that a hit.
I feel like I'm learning stage combat all over again, because this is literally how boiled down Professor Daryl Rushton of Frostburg State gave it. There's your glancing blow, and then there's a hit. I don't want to hear the rump slap on the first one. I better hear it like we're at the club on the second.
It's kind of like learning combat rules for Godlike with all the different hit locations. It's like, yes, you could, in theory, block with your arms, but we're going to call that taking the hit.
But let's not over-dramatize.
Yeah.
Leave that for the players. So
we'll leave that for later. Let's get the rules down so the players can get to ignoring them. So we got +6 to +10 for the next category, and I was going to call that a solid hit. So
one you'll feel tomorrow, one you'll feel in about 20 tomorrows.
Oh, you'll be feeling it now, because Pow right in the kisser was the text I wrote down. You got him good, champion. Roll damage dice twice and take the highest total. So that's a good solid hit. As opposed to critical hits, because I was thinking that would be what would make your game more dynamic and interesting, is that the critical hits could still be a solid hit. A critical hit could just be a regular hit based on, the dice roll. So it would be separate mechanics, like clashing into each other.
So you wouldn't place that as your +11?
So, well, +11 would be massive hit. I was kicking around like, well, should it be a massive hit? Should it be a deep hit? You know, something like that. A deep wound maybe, but I was going with massive hit. And, I realized I made a joke here. You found their weak point and struck for massive damage. Thank you, Reggie. We miss you. So this maximizes your weapon damage. So you don't even have to roll if you get a massive hit. And I even wrote, yes, even bonus dice. So your sneak attack, your enchantment damage dice, your technique dice, whatever dice we want to throw at them. It's like, nah, just roll all of it, bro. It's fine. You're good.
I like breaking things by stacking stuff, don't we?
Right. And I guess we keep going. I guess that's where I this document didn't save. But the next one's going to be -5 to -9. And that is a miss. And it's like, yeah, you didn't hit. Sorry, Charlie. Maybe try again next round or next action, you know. And then I was going to say -10 and lower. That's a fumble. That's where your attack was so bad that something bad's going to happen. Either you get disarmed or you trip or, you know, you come on time, something silly like that.
Why Neftiri kept face planting all through book 2. We'll put it that way.
Look, some battles, like all you do is just eat dirt, you know.
Literally, that's all she did was eat dirt. So, for the next part of advanced concepts, do we have more to add?
Yes, there's holding back. So I thought that this would be a nice technique if you're really good at something and you don't want to get a lot of attention. You will have an option to hold back. You won't put your full force behind it. So
second place, Jack. Second place.
Yes, second place. You would have the option to only roll 2 dice as opposed to 3. And that's before your roll. So that will dramatically reduce the possibility but unless we change it where the fumble is less than 6, because it's going to be way easier to roll 6 or less. You'll get a 50% chance on the fumble if you only roll 2d6. So I could calculate the chances of 2d6, and we can even say you're less likely to fumble on holding back because you're not trying as hard. You're not opening yourself up to as much risk. So probably to do it just like Disco Elysium does it, where 12 is a crit and 2 is a...
That's what I was just asking. Yeah. Isn't that similar in Disco? It's more base 12.
It is the same, yeah. Because for 5%, I think it's more than just 2 because it's based on 36. Because there's 36 outcomes on 2d6. So 1 divided by 36, that's 2%. 3 divided by 36, that's about 8. So yeah, we could probably reduce it to 3 or less as a fumble, and then 11 or higher would be a crit if you were holding back. That's just some quick maths.
Yeah, I think we're going to go. I'm trying to find that note. Sorry. Fumble.
Yeah, that's fine. This document didn't save that, so I had to...
That's all right. What I'll do is I'll make a comment. And this is what I'll leave as kind of even recording me as a guest user. Why am I signed out? Anyway, I was literally just in it earlier today. Anyhow, noted. Okay, that's a note for later then. So yes, likely we will go that route, but we're going to sleep on it. Next item for that then.
Yeah, that's weird that you're not on my list of contacts for sharing this file. like what is happening. I don't know. I wish I knew.
Tech Gremlins, we don't care to understand you, but we're done feeding you. I can say that for sure.
Technus Mechanicus or whatever.
So,
Always got finding Copilot increased price to me. Yeah, it's fair.
for holding back, what's the next item to add after that then?
Let's see. Option only roll 2 dice instead of 3. Put that the critical success is only going to be 11 to 12. And then fumble would only be 2 or 3. So it's a little, I guess, technically less risky.
Okay.
And I think that would just be something your players can do if we make it so like the big successes get them a lot of attention. Because I'm thinking, someone comes in and just gracefully like strikes down like all the guards or whatever and just lays them out all flatly. The other guards are going to be like, okay, we need to get rid of that guy first because he's a kind of a terrorist. And
sounds like their former king. Anyway.
And then same thing with like a mage, or they just roll this amazing roll and they just nuke a bunch of guards, and the guards are like, okay, someone snipe that mage. It's like on it. and the wizard's like, oh no, I wasn't expecting arrows. But that's all I had for that.
Okay.
I had some ideas for equipment, but I saw you.
Jenna went to town just a little bit.
No, fine.
Where is that one? Hold on a second.
Well, someone went to town because I need some radishes.
Dual casting. Because if we have dual wielding, I had questions about dual casting. I gotta find it here.
I mean, we can do if you want to address that next. You do dual casting if that's what you want to address next. Not a lot of ground to cover, so just pick a place to go.
Okay. As I exit out of the thing I need. Okay, dual casting is just where we'll pick up then. So my question was, since we have dual wielding, which we talked about in a previous episode, do we combine and also say dual casting applies to the same rules? And or what do you do in the case where you have someone who blasts the blam blam and the sparky sparks with one hand while wielding a sword in the other?
So you mean just casting 2 different spells at once?
Yeah, are we doing it the same way? Just as someone who's done those, questions abounded.
Well, I mean, we can do it similar to how D&D does it, where it used to be, they changed it recently, but it used to be you can only cast 1 spell around, because I imagine that in your mythology, your cosmology, like a better term, they take energy that's immediately around them. And I would imagine if a mage is just throwing magic everywhere, they would need some time to gather more of it before they release it. So I figure that's part of their well, we can't call it casting because that's a different thing. I was thinking manifesting. We're going to use like when they manifest their magic. They have to gather the energy somewhere. And I was thinking once they gather the energy, then it's like vacated until they gather more. That would take some time, either force them to use a movement to go to a different area and gather energy there, or they just suck all the oxygen out of the room, which could make it interesting where a bunch of mages are in the same room fighting for the energy that's around. They're like, hey, no, I was using that to kill you. Like,
it's like he knows the shenanigans his own character gets into one of the books. That's why I'm like, wait a minute.
Mechanics you want to try similar to like Dark Sun, where all the mages are fighting over like the actual mana in the world, while they're literally just sucking the life force out of the out of the planet to cast magic. That could be kind of funny because then it just becomes screaming matches between which mage grabs the energy first and fling at the other guy's face, as opposed to it's like, I cast a spell, counter spell. I cast a spell. No, I cast a spell, but I was going to use that mana. No, stop.
See, that's the kind of non-progressive stuff that I would like people to use in a well-timed humor applies manner, if that makes sense. But not outside of, because that would get boring after a while. So that note is one that's good to have and answers all my questions.
And that being said, I was thinking like research-based magic. Those would be the kind of bastards that hoard that energy.
Hey, keep it PG, dude.
Yeah, sorry. So they would basically, a wizard like would prepare the stuff they need for a spell in advance, is what I was thinking. So they wouldn't have to worry about fighting someone for like original magic, because, well, they could probably do that. They could probably grab magic and fling it, but then they would be like, well, I prepared this like trinket to do this nonsense, a specific trinket to cast a magic, but like basically like a wand, but it's a one-time thing. So it's like
we don't call them enchantments. We call them imbuements.
Imbuements, right. So I was figuring, well, you could have your wizards make the imbuements, and then they could do the manifestations. As for whether or not we can just let a mage go wild with magic, I guess it all depends, because it's going to be based on a action economy where, do we want to live in a world where a mage could cast 3 spells before you get to do anything? Are we willing to let everyone use all 3 of their actions they haven't taken yet to get out of the way of said spells? Because if everyone just starts like nose diving into barrels and hallways and stuff to get out of the way of the pew-pews, then all right, well, I got 1 action left. Here comes a crossbow. I'm aiming straight for that guy's throat before he starts yelling magic at me again. So that could be a push and take. Without any special preparations or traits, we could limit it to 1 spell per round, unless to do something silly. And of course, your players will continue to do something silly. Like they will grab implements, they will grab preparations, they'll grab whatever and waste their turns just blasting out as much magic as they can, because they know when it's their turn, they can't defend because they use all their actions nuking the room. And
this is why you make friends with the big dumb vampire who has no problems getting into and out of trouble with you, dude.
Exactly. And then heaven forbid, what if they all made the saving throws or the defense tests that we come up with, and the wizard's like, oh, well, I have no actions for defense, and I have a D4 vitality die. This is going to suck. So, in response, give them a D4 vitality die and see how brave they are nuking rooms like that. Because I guarantee they won't. Especially if we make vitality part of oomping their spells, like a sorcerer or like a scion, like using their physical vitality to power their spells. Then they have less vitality for when they have to deal with arrows and rocks and stuff.
Which would all go into this section, ma'am.
Yeah.
She's throwing a rock party behind me. What is going on?
Yeah.
I heard you crash land into the dresser. Chill.
So, hey, does anyone remember when wizards and sorcerers only had a D4 hit die in Dungeons & Dragons? Wasn't that a wild time to be alive?
I liked doing that because, you didn't want to be low level for long.
No.
And they were hard.
Like I said, it was an interesting time when your HP was lower than your armor class. So it's like, and even a dwarven wizard with toughness at level 1 was still walking around at most with 11 hit points. And that was as good as it got at level 1. And Well, it was a time to be alive, that's for sure.
For sure. So with the vitality, do we want to say why is it doing that? Word, you're not playing. Thank you. Fair. See note in section on dual casting, and there's a note in advanced concepts. I need to cross ref here as needed with flare text. Okay. That's a note for me.
We could set it as a restriction that each character can only cast one field magic or whatever we're going to call it per round, and then like depending on their tradition, they'll be able to like reach in, grab a preparation, or heaven forbid, or implement, or implementation, whatever we're going to call it. They have it in, or they have it in hand already, and they just yeet the spell out, and then they cast their field magic, and then heaven forbid we deal with something similar to meta magic, and they do a quicken spell to break that one field magic turn rule, and now they use all three of their action to cast 3 spells, and anything that's left standing, they're like, get them, adventurers, fellow party members, please. I have a D4 hit vitality die, you know?
Right. And that would be probably the safer way to do it long term.
Yeah. Players are going to want to break that stuff, especially preparation or implement pages, because they're going to probably spend most of their downtime making preparations. And this is why you never let wizards be bored, because they're just going to sit in their towers making preparations all day. And
artificers were invented for a reason. I say that exactly for this reason.
Artificers were invented to BS guns, and you know it.
It's because they couldn't do magic, but they still had to make stuff.
And guns aren't even that great in D&D 5e from what I hear. So.
We're talking about that in the next campaign. That's another campaign. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about guns. We're at year 0.
What year are we in?
Well, I know what year we're in, technically. I'm wondering about the calendar, because we can't say BC, because this was the time before Christ, where we didn't know.
Slightly before and after it'll cover. Where's my note? Haha! I made a handy dandy chart for us.
Boys.
That's right. So, Ptolemaic Egypt to circa the year 300 BC.
Right. I was just wondering what calendar we're using.
There's a way to find this out.
Oh, mighty Google, tell us some secrets.
I think I remember the date. Correct, 1582. So prior to that, we would have... Yeah. So, yes, our dates here are our time accurate.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. Because that would have been about the time that they would have started tracking things more widespread on paper, agreeing with when BC started too, is why I look up that calendar. That's why my brain went there.
Or, they started using the Gregorian calendar, whatever it was called.
It would have depended, because certain parts of the world certain parts of the eras that went on to use that calendar used different calendars still. Because
well, I mean, is this game going to most likely take place in Egypt?
Yep.
What calendar were they using? And if you don't know,
without getting into a long religious discussion, they did have a civil calendar. I was hoping to find a picture of it. Where's the image? That's the one I wanted. Thank you. So they do have kind of like the 12 months of the year patterning a little bit because of their rainy seasons. Every month had 3 10-day runs. for 120-day seasons. Kind of similar to us a little bit, but it feels more indigenous in the way they interpret it. Yeah.
So it was only off by like 5.25 days.
Yeah. I would say it's probably one of the more accurate old world calendars, given how close they are to the equator. Applies here, though.
I mean, yeah, I guess they don't have to worry too much about daylight savings or whatever. I mean, not that they had daylight savings, but
right. But
and time, like day and night cycle throughout the year. I guess, lack of a better term, I don't know what that's called, other than just
their circadian choices, kind of, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I just don't know that particular nomenclature. Like, what do you call it when the day is longer, or certain, other than like daylight savings? But that's a different thing.
Right.
Just something to note for later, because I was like, oh, what calendar were they using? I don't know. They're not.
They had one that would lead to adding ideas to the current calendar we use, but it definitely agrees with more spiritual, indigenous, traditional, cultural ties. Like, I almost think their patterning is more similar, maybe, to the Celtic Wheel of the Year a little bit.
Did they even bother counting years, or they were just keeping track of the rainy seasons?
Well, they tracked it by dynastic rule, as far as like eras go, if that makes sense. So I don't know how that affected the calendar either, given that technically the last group of people to rule over Egypt were mostly Greek, or Egyptian. So that also applies here, probably.
I thought they invented the number 0, because apparently with the Arabic numbering system we used, we didn't have a 0. And then they're like, but how do we write down nothing? And people were like, just leave it blank. What do you mean? And they're like, no, let's make a 0. And everyone's like, oh. Before then we didn't have a 0. Like the Romans are like, I don't know.
For our context of how we view the calendar, we're looking at like plus or minus a couple hundred years on either side of, quote, year 0, if you want to get technical for this campaign.
Well, I know the Chinese have been counting years for like over 5,000 years, because that's where their calendar is right now.
Correct.
But I understand that not everyone was counting years. People were like, who cares? And
that's a good point too.
And then the Gregorian calendar came along. It's like, wait.
Well, it came back to the power of the church, and that's a whole other topic we shouldn't get into here today. I'm trying to get
like, guys, count years. Let's make it based on our boy JC. Anyway.
Okay, spell magic and powers. Where's I wanted the weaponry section. It's not letting me scroll down on the far left.
We need our weapons. They can 3 spells a turn.
Baka, don't give me ideas on how we can munchkinize this already, dude. Okay, here's the section I had questions on. Crafting.
We've already done it.
Crafting.
Yes. Crafting. Yes.
Crafting. How far do we take this? Because, I mean, we know how some people can get and spend, forever just crafting stuff.
Well,
do I even dare bring this up in this book yet, or leave it for another book for like...
So I think we're going to have to start drilling down skills before we start getting into crafting rules.
That's the other question I had. How many of these are skills versus... Do you get what I mean? Like, how do we want to denote these?
Well, I think each crafting should require some sort of skill. I guess when it comes to cooking, we could probably make a trope of a professional cook where you don't have to roll to make edible food, because that should be easy for someone to do who's been doing it for years without burning stuff.
We have a character like that. Her name's Maria. The thought process is kind of like how Sims, the more they practice, the more they study, the better they get. Yes, yes.
I mean, there's going to be a learning period where you can screw up, cooking. Mm-hmm. But I've had professional chefs basically tell me that anyone can learn to cook in 6 months. And at that point, they're as good a chef they're ever going to be. So, and then I've had my mother say that she had a friend, God rest her soul, that was so bad at cooking, like she could burn water. That's a skill on itself. I don't know. I think
the original question was, this is where we get our imbuements. So this is like, you can imbue jewelry to have magical effects as part of your crafting. You can imbue food to actually be like healing food. Do you kind of get where I'm going?
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. So what I was thinking when it came to skills, I was going to make each of the attributes as vague as possible, so it's possible to justify that with any type of skill, depending on your approach. But I was going to make the skills very specific, and here's why. I do like that they condensed a lot of skills, moving from 3.0 to 3.5, and then Pathfinder did it better. Oh, and by better, I mean they condensed the skills down further. However, it irks me to no end that they combined two very different skill sets into one skill, and that is spot checks and listen checks into perception, because that creates, in my opinion, really silly issues where you get, like, say, a pair of binoculars, which give you bonuses on sight-based perception checks. And I'm like, why not just keep them separate skills if you're going to separate those checks anyway? And then there's the whole, like, well, we have a character that chose to be blind at character creation, to be similar to Maria's rule set, which we need to drill out natural blindness or long-term blindness anyway, because that needs to be a thing to be addressed.
Yeah, what if they pick like a critical, like not a critical flaw, but you get what I mean. Right. This would even account for characters who maybe have a scar through an eye even.
Well, yeah, and at that point it's like limited blindness where they just don't have depth perception, which I think should have their own rules. And I even came up with a partially blind character for my monster game that he took like 3 feats to basically negate that drawback. And in fact, like, one of his tactics was his first mate was a sorcerer that had fog cloud prepared. So they would cast fog on the deck, and he's like, "Oh, you can't see? Sucks to suck, don't it?" And he only had a 20% mischance instead of 50 in fog because he's used to fighting people one-eyed. So it's like, I don't give a flip. It's like,
that's how you turn something that's a disadvantage into an advantage without doing much.
Yeah, there was the same with this one guy in Godlike, where he couldn't see very well, but his unique special like power was that when he closes his eyes, he turns invisible. So no one could see him anyway. He's already used to blind fighting. So he's just sitting there, like, turns invisible, just starts beating the crap out of people. And I'm like, my man. Still not as funny as the one guy who can make explosives go off by giving it the finger. So, oh, look at this Nazi with all those grenades. Boom! Dead Nazi.
You love that story so much, too. So much.
I mean,
so much.
I've only heard like one sentence about that character. I'm like, that's awesome. And I think there was this lumberjack. His only superpower was he had super strength, but only when it came to trees. So he could just trees out of the ground and throw just giant trees at people. And that's it. It was just called the lumber sack. He's like, I look like he's just a normal guy. He just could pull out trees from the ground and throw them at people. But anyway, all right.
I want to say something, but we're going to make it more appropriate. Does he ask them to hold his mead anyway? So, where was the other one? Calling a gathering. So,
yeah.
And another item we need to talk about. So we do have political governance in this game, my connection is low, so I apologize if you lose me there for a second. I hope I'm coming through audibly. We do have political governance with the council that our Sinway starts. So calling a gathering. As required by Alliance law, any voted matters on the council must result in a 2/3 agreement. That's why there's 5 seats on the council, and for all passing of all issues. Do we want to make this a dice roll based? For my thought was for the people who don't want to go through the actual, let's role play the whole scene and pretend that the characters are there. Could we do 2 paths?
Okay.
Could we actually do the persuasion and let them use their merit-based points and connections to, you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, say, would they be calling on the council to make these decisions?
They can request to, how's the wording go? It is to call a gathering. That's what the council members can do, or the queen can do. They can call it, but you can request and give them persuasion to call a gathering on your behalf, because all the elders on the council are representatives of their covens and clans in that way.
So, for example, I don't mind it being either skill based or blowing their favor points on some of these things to get automatic members on their side, because they're well, we did this for them, so maybe they'll cut us some slack. I imagine that something like this could happen if they get up enough demerits or whatever, or they do something absolutely insane. That the group's okay, why? Just one. I only have one question for you, lot. Why? As opposed to, I don't know, would they call a council meeting just for requesting supplies for a mission that they're on, or is this something more?
This would be things they find out that one of their human allies is a double agent.
Okay.
And we need to, we're talking not just tiny stuff. We're talking we need to bother you to gather everybody all across the realm on Earth to hear and talk. This is a bother. We need to literally bother them.
We could, if it's only major decisions or major things happening in the organization, I think we could either use persuasion skills to turn some of the members that may not be on the player's side, or they can either spend favor points instead of leveling up to change their minds, or heaven forbid, they could accept a demerit. That, okay, we did this for you. Now you have to do something for us to balance it, because, I stuck my neck out for you. Make it worth my while, or, that's it. So, and we can make rules for both and just let the players decide, because we can say whatever, and then, half the time players are nah, that's dumb. We're just going to do this instead.
See, that's why I was I can see where also in different situations, you might want one over another too, especially when you consider the demerits in play.
But hey, making it a major majority, and then there are 5 members on the council, that's good establishment right there for when these tribunals, lack of a better term, are called. I don't know if tribunal is the right word, because I think that's
we call them gatherings. That's literally what they're called.
Right. But it sounds like a tribunal is what I'm saying. Or like a bunch of
there's a reason why it fails. There's a reason why it fails, Sir Jedi.
So it could be some, and again, everyone's play style is going to be different, but we can set down the groundwork for all three approaches. Either A, it costs them favor to sway a member. So here's the thing. They don't know at first which members are on their side unless they're brainy brains, and they know who's going to vote yes, who's going to vote no, or heaven forbid there might be a surprise. You know, a surprise in politics you don't say, like an October surprise or some nonsense. But anyway,
October's not here yet. Don't say that.
But there always is one. That's the most infuriating thing. But yeah, so they don't know who on any of these decisions, unless they really know their council members, who's going to vote what. And that's the kind of suspense that for an intrigue game that would really drive home. And then you could be like, okay, here. And then while you're setting up the tension for the scene, you're like, here's the deal. You need 3 members to vote this way or this happens. So here is what you can do. You can A, roll, and you tell them the DC for whoever, the one that's the least miffed at them, lack of a better term, to change their mind. And then if they're given time, like, yeah, they can appeal their case, I imagine. There's going to be some debate back and forth. And then based on if they're full of garbage, absolute dumb points that make no sense and go nowhere, you can give them all the penalties in the world, you give them disadvantage, you give them all this nonsense. And then, but if they come and they're like, okay, we're going to level with you. This whole situation was out of our hands. Here's what happened. And then you give them bonuses, you give them advantage and whatnot on the rolls. Or they can take the easy way out. They can appeal to one of the members that they might know the most, have the most traction with or whatever, and either spend favor to change their mind, or if they believe they're changing their mind, because they could try to win over this guy that, as far as you know, was already on their side, and they're like, save your points. He was going to vote for you anyway, you know. And they're like, oh, thank God, you know. They're like, woo, you know, because that could be half the intrigue too, is like just figuring out how they're going to vote on that particular issue, and then they can't.
And I know certain DMs like constructing those moments as much as they like watching their players destroy them.
Wow. I mean, what was it? That monster game? I had exactly one trial. Exactly one. And my players were literally facing down like an actual pillar of justice, and they argued their way out of it with some spicy nonsense. And the bailiff was so mad that the PCs talked their way out of this judgment, because basically one of their party members just killed an inevitable, and they basically just got away with it because there was no witnesses. Like, absolutely dismantled him, brick by boring brick.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
However, she was suffering a mental defect, which she did kind of get healed at that point, because the guy's like, okay, yeah, I can see you have alter perception. I can fix you. I'm not going to ignore this. She didn't get an option to. It's like, okay, we're not going to charge you. However, we're fixing your brain. And then she's like, oh. And it's literally the fact that she was born a Trox and she had a delusion she was a dwarf. And the inevitable said, no.
Some delusion?
Yeah. No, it was all part of a tragic backstory. But yeah, the whole reason that inevitable got ripped apart, it's like, no, I see your true form. You're not a dwarf, you're a Trox. That triggered her. She failed the will save and flipped her ever-loving mind and just tore this inevitable apart.
You want to talk about the things they write songs about, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. And
There's a song about that.
A corrupted weapon that turned into an anarchic weapon anyway. So she got bonuses to ripping apart inevitables that came after her because of that. They were relentless. And she's like, I get bonuses to killing you idiots. Quit sending me more. Bash, 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 bash. At that point, it was just self-defense.
Self-defense, so they say.
No, they actually were right. Like I can't argue that, especially since there were witnesses that they could have called that said like, no, the inevitable started it. They started talking crap.
Ooh. I don't know where you went. I'm sorry about that.
They took me off the air because I said crap one too many times. Long story short, my PCs were way smarter than me.
And that's okay. Mine are usually smarter than me too. They think they are, at least. So
it's really hard to outsmart a group where their leader is like a noble female drow, and she's doing like all the nasty drow stuff on the side. It's really hard to outmaneuver that kind of scheming and plotting and nastiness, especially when I literally gave her a mechanic. Here's a scheme mechanic. Go nuts. Don't even tell me your plans. I want to be surprised. And every time she did, I'm like, oh my God.
Did I tell him that Neftiri used to be a drow once upon a time or not, ladies and gentlemen?
Stop.
On that note, I think
you were a scene kid without telling me you're a scene kid. It's like, I had this vampire dark elf lady. Come on.
Whose great aunt is a former queen of Egypt.
Yep.
On that note,
yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah,
we are going to go ahead and hang out again probably next month because a lot's going on in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
You got homework.
Yeah.
I got homework. Oh my God, fam! Thanks for being here. You got a game to get back to though.
Thanks. Yeah. I got to eat up all of John's food that he cooked for survival.
Let's go to dinner then.
Yeah, I took the trait where my character gets hungry more often and has to sleep a lot. And I'm like, man, this is too real.
See you later, fam.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns out with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be